the next two bones. Now I've got them together here. So these are making up your forearm. Students will mix these up in a heartbeat. So one of them is your radius, and one of them is your ulna. So see if you guys on here, see if you can find those two bones. One's the radius and one's the ulna. These are your, so the radius and the ulna. So let me show you, we already said the humerus has that weird looking spool thing that I can put my fingers there too. That's the humerus. So the radius and the ulna, I do, oh, there it is. Now again, I see weird things. I see giraffes and I see, this looks like a pipe wrench to me. Like there's this thing and I'm just gonna like that too. That's what that looks like to me. Because if there was a screw, you'd go, y'all know what I'm talking about? That's what it looks like to me. This is your ulna. This is your ulna. Some students say they can remember it because it makes a U. You see the U? Turn it like that, it makes the U. The one that makes the U is the ulna. And in math, when you hear radius, what does your brain automatically think of? Radius of a circle, you're right? You always hear radius of a circle. Look at the end of one of these bones. Do you see the circle? So the one that has a circle on the end of it is the radius. It's dead giveaway. It's like, oh, you're a circle. It's the smaller bone that has a circle on the end of it. So that's the radius. The one that makes the U is the ulna. Okay? So radius is always on your thumb side. Radius is always on your thumb side. And someone in, I don't remember, I can't see people online, so I don't know who said it, but I liked it, so I'm stealing it. She said in high school when they were learning the difference, they said if something is radical, people would give a thumbs up, so that we can remember radius is thumb side. So that might help you. I liked it. It was cool. She had one for the fibula as well that she shared with us. So let's label the parts of the radius and the ulna. First off, that little blank, I'm not gonna be able to write on, but that little blank up there was for you to tell what bone this is. So what bone is this one? This is the radius. And this one that's making that U, or to me looks like a wrench there, is the ulna. Which one's closer to your thumb? The radius is always on the thumb side, okay? And the reason I say that is because that helps a lot of times students if it's on an arm, a lot of times students can figure it out because I'm like, oh, there's the thumb side, there it goes. But sometimes it's just a bone sitting there, so you need to be able to see it both ways. All right, so we're gonna pick on the radius first because it's a little bit of the easier one, and then we'll go to the ulna, okay? So this top part, this little circular part of this, and this are in the correct, this is the superior part of the bone, and this is the inferior part of the bone. So this is actually called the head of the radius. Right below a head, we usually find a neck. So this is the neck of the radius, not surgical neck, just neck. So right below it. This is a rough part for muscle attachment. Do you remember what we had on the humerus when there was a rough part on the bone? And you're just like, oh, there's rough. There, it was called a tuberosity. So this is a rough area again. That's not the answer to it. That's just giving you a hint where it is. A rougher area on the bone. It's opposite this little pointy thing. So rough area, this is called the radial tuberosity. Again, I would not make you on this one write radial tuberosity of the radius because it's giving itself away with that. You could put that, it wouldn't hurt my feelings. Radial tuberosity. If you pick this bone up, that radius, and it looks like, I don't know, it looks like I could write with this end. It almost looks like that's a pencil. It's a little pointy thing. Y'all see the little pointy thing pointing off there? Do you remember the little pointy thing that was dangling off your skull? What that was called? It was that styloid process. This is a styloid process that you're seeing there. That's a styloid process of the radius. The little pointy part. All right, since I've got that one, look over on this bone. Do you see that little pointy thing right there? Guess what that's called? That's called a styloid process. But I have to say the name of the bone because, so you would say on this one, the styloid process of the ulna. Does that make sense? Because a lot of these things have the same name to them. Now, take your hand and feel right there. You feel those two bones? That's what you're feeling. You're feeling the styloid processes. A lot of people think that's your wrist. It's really not. It's the ends of the one on your thumb. That is the styloid process of your radius. This one over here, the bigger one, is that styloid process of your ulna. It's the ends of those two bones. Does that make sense? That's what you're feeling. A lot of people think those are your carpals, but they're not. All right. On up here. This, to me, looks like a wrench. The top part of the wrench, this part, is called the olecranon or olecranon process. The bottom part of the wrench is called the coronoid process. Have you seen those two words before? Now, take your ulna and take your humerus and find that really big one, the big valley on the bottom there, and put the top part of the wrench in there. That's your elbow. You see it? It rotates around that little ball. So the olecranon process or the olecranon process goes in the olecranon fossa. And if I keep going this way, the coronoid process fits in the olecranon fossa. Do you see it? And the reason this one isn't as big is because it doesn't go all the way in. This one does. So it bends. That's your elbow. That's why they're named that way. So that's why we're learning these two and those two. If you can connect them and make a connection in your head, it will make sense. And this spool part, do you remember what that was called? That was the trochlea. Do you remember that? That's the trochlea. So this is going to make sense. Right in there is called the trochlea notch. It notches around the trochlea. Does that make sense? So the inside of that thing. Okay, so the ulna, this is the top of the ulna. This is the bottom of the ulna. Okay, so this is the top, this is superior, this is inferior. The ulna is upside down as far as where its head is. So I just tell you, just remember the U guy is upside down because this little part right here that you're seeing, this is the head. The head of the ulna is down. It's like the ulna standing on its head for some reason. And that's the way it is oriented in your body. And if that's the head, guess what right here is? That is the neck.